are you doing? Welcome to my channel. Hi everybody, long time no see. And if you see a little net moving around, I apologize for that. He's getting on my nerves too. I had a rotten potato and he's been hard to catch, so I'm gonna get him though. But I've been okay, everybody, other than hurting myself a little bit. But other than that, I miss y'all. Good to be here again. Um, had a little time off. I've been busy, but since I had a little time off, I said, well, let me do a video because I haven't did one in a while. Let's unwind with crime, okay? Anybody that's new to my channel, I enjoy watching crime stories, Snap 48 Hours, Dateline, Fear Thy Neighbor, just to name a few. Um, so I like, to watch those channels, and we can blame it on my degree in criminal justice and working for the criminal justice system. So it is what it is. But anyhow, um, since I stay in Michigan, I like to just focus on the ones that happen here in Michigan. This is an old crime that happened about 3 decades ago. That really, 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 really stunned us here in Michigan, okay? It was a really horrific crime that involved 5 people. 5 people. It was a quintuple murder, okay? Yes, a quintuple murder. Rico Jones is the mass murderer. He was only 23 years old. He slaughtered Yollanda Bellamy, who was 24 years old, his girlfriend, and 4 children. 2 children that were hers, and 2 which was her niece. One was her niece and one was her nephew. 4 children. Her children were ages 3 and 5, Nathan Burns Jr. and Nathan Burns the third. And her niece and nephew was also 3 and 5. The little girl name was Shafante Bellamy. She was 3 years old. And her nephew, his name was Devontae Bellamy, and he was 5 years old. This is one of the saddest cases back then that I can think of. Almost, because I do have another one for you. I do. So anyhow, they were sleeping over, her niece and nephew, at a sleepover. And so that's why the children were there, all 5 of them at the time of the murders. So Yollanda and Rico Jones, they started dating in December of 1996. Okay. In the beginning of 1997, Rico Jones, he went to prison for 6 months for assault and battery of another woman in another relationship. During that time, he had a lot of insecurity and jealousy issues, and he would get on the phone and he would argue a lot with Yollanda, about what she's doing. Even though he's in there for assault of another female, he's wondering what she's doing. So this progressed and progressed. So when he did get out of prison, it still was there. He still was jealousy, insecure of their relationship. Although previously in their short relationship, he had been caught red-handedly in other situations involving other women. He was back then a ladies' man, a little player. So he had a lot of women that he was seeing at one time. Okay. So the day of the murders, he and Yollanda got into a heated argument, supposedly over money. Okay. It was 2 different stories involved that was told. One was because of money, and another one because of, he claimed she was pregnant, she said, and she didn't have no respect for him, and so that he said, and she wanted to abort the pregnancy. And so that was another situation. However, neither one of them was a reason. So the sister, she had a sister, her name was Erica Bellamy, 22 years old. She was the mother of the 2 deceased children that was not hers. She came over to the house, and she ended up being the one found them deceased. She called before she came. She got no answer on the phone, which wasn't abnormal. She would usually call, the day of to let her sister know what time she was picking up her children. So when she did not get a response from from her sister, eventually she just came over to the house, knocked on the door, no answer. So she ended up looking through the mail chute, and that's when she seen her daughter laying on the floor, motionless, covered in blood, in a bloodbath, basically. So she alarmed the police, called the police. They came out, broke in the doors, and that's when they ultimately found all 5 victims. I'm telling you, even to this day, it's just something that is just hard for me to even talk about. Anytime that you kill children and you stab them, man, that's just too much to handle for anybody to endure. So, of course, the police want to talk to the sister about who she had enemies with. Was there anyone that didn't like her, she had issues with? Who would want to do this horrific crime? So the sister did tell her about Rico. Her sister had already previously vented to her several times about the arguments, the abuse, because he did put his hands on her before, and all the issues that they had. So she felt like he was probably someone that would hurt her sister and the children. If you need to pause or get a glass of wine, do so, because you might need it. When I tell you, it was over 100 stab wounds inflicted on these poor victims. Yollanda Bellamy's throat alone had 11 slashes. It was almost decapitated. It was said that she was holding her 3-year-old son when the knife went through her 3-year-old son and also struck her in the neck. It was said that her 5-year-old, they can tell, was trying to open up the front door. But at 5 years old, he didn't have the strength or the willpower. So he tried to run up the stairs, and he was caught and stabbed several times. The 3-year-old little girl, who only weighed about 34 pounds, had 30 stab wounds on by herself. These children suffered. They suffered, So the manhunt was for Rico Jones. Okay, before they could find him, after he did the killings, right after he did the killings, he showed up to one of his girlfriend's house that he was seeing. He was also seeing this woman by the name of Malika Martin. He showed up to her house at 5:45 in the morning on August the 13th of 1997. So he's over there at her house at 5:45 in the morning with blood-stained shoes, blood all over his body. She lets him in the house. He tells her the story of how, that they got into it over money, and that she lunged at him supposedly with a knife, and so he started stabbing her. Okay. He also told her that she also was going to tell her husband, because apparently she was married but separated. I believe he was also in prison but was getting out shortly. That she was going to tell her husband that he had put his hands on her and his 2 children. And so he took that as a threat. So he ended up stabbing her. And so Malika asked him, well, what about the children? He admitted that he had to kill the children because he did not want them to be a witness. So he had to kill the children, he said. So she allowed him to take a shower. After that, she told the investigators that she was terrified and she was scared. Now, if that was the case, why she did not try to escape or leave while he was in the shower? So after she allowed him to take a shower, gave him some clean clothes. I think it was her father's clothes she gave him that I read. Gave him some clean clothes. She ended up, him and her, driving to another friend's house. Her name was Tamika Terrell. They went over to this friend's house. She admitted to her also that he killed Yollanda and the children. He also wanted to wash his clothes. He wanted to wash his blood-stained clothes. The lady Tamika did not have a washing machine, so she ended up saying we can burn the clothes. So she burnt the clothes for him in a trash can. From there, the three of them went back to the crime scene. Went to the crime scene. Tamika actually helped clean up some of the crime scene, washing fingerprints off the doors, this, that, and the other, trying to cover up that he was even there. I don't know where people get their hearts from. I really don't. But we're talking about children here. To help someone, assist somebody in covering up a crime that was inflicted to children, anybody. But we're talking about innocent children, 3 and 5-year-old, 4 of them. They couldn't have been mothers. They couldn't have been mothers because I don't see how it was possible. So eventually, he was detained. He was detained. He was being investigated, interrogated, all that good stuff. And the lady who was talking to him in the interrogation room allowed him to be alone for a moment because he asked her, can he be alone for a moment? She said yes. He must have noticed that the window was not that secure and seen some loose bolts or something. So he ended up opening up the window and jumping 5 feet out the window to the ground. He ended up mangling his arm, which required about 21 hours of surgery. Some say that they think it was a suicide attempt. Some say they don't think it was a suicide attempt. He was trying to escape because if he was trying to commit suicide, he wouldn't have used his arms to try to catch the fall. Because he did go out the window head first. So, however, after his hospitalization, he was in critical condition for a short period of time. He was tried for 5 murders. He did get sentenced for 5 murders, okay? Life murders. So this right here, like I said, it really devastated us. Again, one of the stories he did say was because he claimed that Yollanda did not have no respect for him. And well, why would you? You're putting your hands on women for one. But okay, let me not go there. But anyhow, she was pregnant. He claimed, and he was upset that she was going to abort the pregnancy. Well, they never found any proof that she was pregnant. So they don't know if it was something that he just came up with to make an excuse for the crimes that he did or what. But she was not pregnant at the time of her murder at all. So therefore, This was something that, just like I said, it was such a bloodbath. It was so horrifying. In court, everybody was crying. The police, the prosecutor, the detective. The police on the scene actually received 30 days sabbatical because the crime scene was so terrifying. Um, it was just terrible. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, wow, because I do remember that. Even though I was young, I still remember that. I don't know if you're from Michigan. Everyone from Michigan, you probably remember this if you don't remember nothing. When he jumped out that window, a lot of us was like, huh? He jumped out the window? They let him get away? They left him alone? He wasn't handcuffed? He wasn't shackled? So that right there, if you don't remember nothing, I do remember that vividly. Um, so in court, of course, that just devastated everyone who wasn't family. So you can imagine what the family felt. So Nathan Burns Jr., the father of Yolanda's two children, yes, his name was Nathan Burns Sr., not Jr. His junior and his third are deceased. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Your junior and your third is deceased. He made the statement to Jones, "You took their bodies. You did not take their souls. Their souls are with the Lord. And now your soul is going to be someplace different. See you later, bro." The mother of the two deceased, the sister of Yollanda, what she said in court was, "I hate you. I hate the day that you were born. I hate that my sister ever met you. Words cannot explain how I feel right now. Not ever. But knowing a monster would be locked up away, death catches up with you. It helps me a little bit." I don't know about that, because I'm going to tell you, I'm about eye for an eye, and I wish Michigan had the death penalty. For matter of fact, cases like this, gruesome cases like this, to me, when you're in prison, you get 3 hots in a cot, you get cable, you get music devices, you get tablets, you get conversary, you get visits, you get phone calls, you get church or religious services. You have a life. You get programs, you get exercise. What do the deceased get? They get nothing. So for me, I don't know. I don't feel like sometimes for some of these crimes, justice is prison. I don't. Linda Bellamy, the grandmother of the 4 children, this was her only grandchildren that she had at the time. It wouldn't matter if she had 100, but I have 4 grandchildren. I love them so much. I could not imagine losing any one of my grandchildren, but all 4 at the same time. Ooh, she stated, "No sentence except for death." And I'm with her on that one. It's good enough for what you did. I hope for the rest of your life, Rico Jones, that you could be locked up like an animal. But yeah, no sentence but death is good enough for what you did. I agree with that one. So, he was ultimately sentenced for 5 murders. He would never have gotten out of prison. His only way out of prison is death. He had also had another charge on him, which involved 3 prison officers in assault, because he was in an altercation with another prisoner, and the officers tried to break up the fight. and he had stabbed some prison officers. Yeah. So he was ultimately transferred to the maximum prison in Standish. Okay. So long story short, we have the online tracking system called Otis, OTIS. If you ever go on Otis, the prisoner search, it will give you pretty much the details of a person's crime, what they did, how much they have to do for their crime, all of that kind of little information. It's the online tracking information system. If you go on there and you put in Rico Jones, you will not find it because he is now deceased. Yes, he finally got the sentence that he deserved, in my opinion. No, I do not know how he left here, but he's not here no longer. He passed away about 7 years ago. One thing about Otis is that once you're done with your crime, whether you leave here involuntarily or they dismiss you, you basically, after 3 years, are eliminated from their system. So you can't look them up no more. So you cannot find Rico Jones on Otis. But I did share with you some pictures of him in prison and when he committed the crime and after the crime. Okay. So yeah, that's one of the things that really hurt us here in Michigan. The mass quintuple murder of Yollanda, Bellamy, and 4 beautiful young children, 3 boys and a girl. What can I say? Other than justice eventually was served. I told you about my crime stories. This crime story right here does not have a series. It's not on nothing that I've seen yet. Dateline 48 hours, Snapped. But if you do find it, let me know. If it is one, because not everything, of course, have a series. But if I find one later on, I will post it because sometimes you may. Also, if anyone knows how Rico Jones passed away, put in the comments. I would kind of sort of want to know. I don't know, was it because of illness? I don't know, was it suicide? I don't know if someone did harm to him. I would tell you my preference, but I'm gonna keep it to myself and I ain't gonna tell you. But however, I don't know. I do believe in eye for an eye, though. I don't believe that you should go around killing people, anyone. We all here on life have a purpose. We all here are loved by someone, especially these babies. And it's so cowardly to me that people can just take people's lives and then they think that their lives is so worthy. It just surprises me. Someone can kill somebody in an instant, in a heartbeat, in a second, and then they'll actually cry for their life. So it's amazing. But however, thank you so much. I hope you like my crime story, and please look forward to unwinding with me with crime for some further stories. And if you do have a story that you would like me to look up or to talk about, please let me know. I have a lot of them that I'm gonna do. It's so much going on. Some of them I might forget about, unfortunately, or don't get to soon enough. But if you have one, let me know. And thank you. Comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you for unwinding with me with crime. See you later.